G'day everybody, and welcome back for some more Space Engineers. Teal. All of the teal and orange and brown. I think at the end of the last stream... Oh, there's an incoming mosquito. Delightful. And a mayfly. Even more delightful. So yeah, I think at the end of the last stream I was trying to attack that research base, but apparently... Oh gee, there are so many drones. Apparently, I was wrong about having made it so the research bases don't send stuff after you. That must be in my more recent version of the mod, not in this one. Because I'm getting so many drones, and ooh. Is that hitting my wheel? No! I hit bad stuff again! Arrgh! Oh man. How do we get out? I've forgotten how to get out. Oh, I'm lucky those tanks didn't explode. Oh, man. It took out my bed! Come on! Ooh, it almost took out the survival. So, I think I'm going to drive away from the research base. With more care than I did just before. Because I don't think I can take on a... even basic research base with this. I lost a wheel! Little jerks. Also, thanks so much, Lake Turtle, for the gift sub and for the resub. Thanks, Chrysil, JC Gamer Inui, for 20 months and 22 months. And thanks, Capuval. I'm slightly distracted. This is... Oh no, I smashed up that too? Alright, so I've got to think up a new way to attack these bases, if I want to attack them. Because apparently my turrets are not enough to take out the enemy drones with any degree of success. Research base 1.5 k's out. Let's just keep going until I'm 2 k's out from it. I think I might need something that can fly. Oh, that looks like rough. Let's watch that instead of where the drone is. It's so annoying that the turrets don't account for gravity and bullet drop. Clear it though. Ah! Oof. Oof, that was close. Yeesh. Thanks, Amaru, for the 22 months. Have I lost my suspensions? Like, I feel like I'm not able to move at all. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get up the hill. Away from the research base. So apparently I made a mistake. And apparently attacking these things with your only home is a bad idea. Who'd have thought it? I was supposed to be out getting, like, hunting for silver, and I got sidetracked trying to take out that base, so I guess I could go back to the silver hunt. But I should probably do some repairs. I should have... Wait, did I... I think you guys made me blueprint this last time. Let me check. What's this called? Teal Terror. Aha! Let's use a projector to repair this. Projector. What? No, not battery. I think you left the stove on. Yeah. I think someone let Cat back into the kitchen. Projector, blueprints, Teal. Oh, at least it's oriented the right way. That was lucky. Oh no, it's got old stuff. No. It's gonna be annoying. Someone remind me after this to actually fix this up. Make a new blueprint. It's the last hope of humanity. It's an unstoppable machine fueled by hate and hydrogen. He calls it the Tealminator. Oh, text. That's actually not bad. How much damage did it do to these? Oh, that sucks. I wonder how many of my tanks I've lost all the hydrogen from now. All of them. Delightful. Just delightful. Ugh. Right, I'm going to start up the front and work my way back. I think that's the smartest way to go. Oh, is that? That's my link from that container, that's why. Can't believe I got dive bombed. I thought I mean, obviously, it was never a perfect system, but I had thought that I'd made the drones so that shouldn't happen very much. The drones should detonate on being disabled. But apparently, less reliable than I thought. Indeed, Sidin. I will never have a Bob. Although, I have considered using the AI-enabled ones. Maybe I should have done that here. Still could, I guess. Mess around with having my own little helper bot. See what it's like to actually have someone help. Thanks so much, Black Shadow. Apparently my shenanigans today are similar to most of my shenanigans, which is getting myself blown up and having to repair and then decide better ways to not get blown up. Just trying to think. Trying to think of an interesting thing I can do with the shape of this rover that'll allow me to have some sort of attack craft. Because I think if I'm going to attack bases, I really need something that's semi-disposable. Because, yeah, you don't really want to take your house into a fight. That seems silly. I think we all know Capac's main goal is not to help. Main goal is to make it look like he's not doing something to actively cause problems while he's actively causing problems. Unless things are very difficult, in which case, yes, he's 100% help. That just means I set the difficulty too high if Capac's being helpful. Yeah, well, Capac's usually the disposable thing I do throw into the fights. And then watch. It's usually spectacular. Yeah, pretty much, Glitch. If Capac's helping, things have gone wrong. Or I've come up with some sort of... There is the rare situation where I've come up with something that actually interests him. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds fun. And the even rarer instance where I've tricked him into doing that. Thanks so much, Gruz. 2 years. 2 years and a whole lot of YouTube. Well, soon to be a whole lot of YouTube bots squished. Oh. Huh. Cool. Okay, my return to base thing for my assertive drones still works. That's good. Was wondering about that. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to test that separately, because it takes a while.
Energy low.
And yes, I don't have the snarky sounds mod on, so no wasted telling me things. I do wonder what other things could be done with that sort of stuff. That could be fun. So what did I do to damage the rover? I created a mod that was harder to defeat than I thought. That's what I did.
Energy critical.
Oop. This way. No. This way. I think I'd put it where I can't get it. And that is my jetpack because of the projector. Is that a fancy way of saying you hit yourself? Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, I guess it is. Hey, thanks, Mavlite. Yes, I did get attacked. Because I was trying to do the attacking and it didn't work out. It quickly turned on me and things went bad. But I think we're gonna be alright. I've lost all my hydrogen, which sucks, but it shouldn't be too hard for me to recover the rest of this. Kinda didn't want to spend the beginning of this stream just repairing stuff, but that's just how it goes. I suppose it's my own fault for trying to attack a research base. What the? That was weird. I might fix this up first because I was struggling to move. Hey, thanks, Mr. Titan. 28 months. Yeah, I need more guns. You're right. I've got enough parts. Well, I mean, I probably don't have enough metal grids for all the heavy armor, but I've got enough everything else. But yeah, I think I need more guns so that there is overwhelming firepower going at those drones when they come in. I'm wondering whether I should try and build some sort of rotor cannon with the custom thing, or if I should put more energy into making a separate vehicle that I can attack with. Not sure which is the better. Railgun turret. I can't build railguns. I'll have to get to space first. I guess I could go to space. Yeah, I know I could have fixed the welder or replaced the welder, but the welder I'd actually gotten rid of because the thruster was finished, and I figured it'd give me time to think of what I want to do next. And also didn't think it was going to take quite as long as it did. Right. Let's go down here and fix... Where's cargo? Oh, that's still the easiest cargo access. Right. I might need to go get some more ice. But I was trying to find silver to get a few things done. And then I was trying to... Oh, I did find silver, didn't I? Because I found... Oh no, I found gold. I should go mine that gold. Because I was going to put yield modules on. That's right, I remember now. That's the trouble with it being several weeks since I last played this save. Would you replicate this teal beauty in Lego? I think this color's like one of the more difficult ones to get enough parts of in Lego. I do have some, I think, pretty cool ideas that have come to mind while I've been away, while I was away on holidays, for stuff to do with Lego. And I mean, I know I've been talking about it for months, but I'm actually pretty close to getting those streams started again. Now, how am I going to get into that tank? There's the one above it. Not sure how I'm going to get to it. Nope, not hydrogen engine. I want a tank. My time away was very, very good. Yeah, certain colors have certain, like there are a whole bunch of limits to with different sets and colors and things with Lego. And I'm not sure which ones are just gonna be near impossible to get. I think we have to grind that out to get in there. Which is rather inconvenient, because I think we all know those are going to get damaged again. Oh my god. Thought I had something else in my G menu. Oh, it's just because all the tubes we got on that one. That's why. But yeah, dragged on my break was very good. I've come back feeling energetic. So much so that I was up at 5:30 this morning. And similarly early yesterday. And I'm going to try and keep that as a bit of a habit. Because I think if I can keep getting up that early in the morning, I'll have time to take Charlie for a walk before any of my streams, no matter how early I start them. Well, I mean, reasonably, almost no matter how early I start. And that should be a good thing. But I'm very much a morning person, so I'm quite happy to be up early rather than staying up too late. Like, I think my kind of ideal is going to sleep at like 10:30 and then getting up early. Usually 7.5 hours. So yeah, that's... yeah. What am I doing? I just had a bit of a brain fart. Yeah, well, Incognito, I'm pretty good at sneaking into bed late. Like, my other half is also a morning person, so she... Yeah, I don't...
Fuel low.
We fortunately don't have that worry. Do I have any ice? Or am I, like, completely out and now I'm completely out of hydrogen? No, I've got heaps of ice. Okay. Dragnon! I see you're still as crazy as ever. Thank you so much. Thanks for the 10 gift subs, mate. And thanks, Cabraman. Cabraman. Either way to say that's kind of fun. Ah, glad I was able to make it fun enough for you, Degazith. Right, hydrogen engines are incomplete. I may as well finish those while I'm here. Get that done. And then blueprint this thing. Ooh, hey, you can fit through there. Cool. I was going to build these. These are my little safety net. My little non-deformable safety net with the thrusters. Hey, thanks, Scarecrow. Yeah, I'm hoping Capac and I can do a PAX catch-up this year too. We've both got our tickets, and we've both put our submission in for getting creator passes. So we'll see how that goes. I would think I would get one. The nice thing about the creator pass for us is that what it can mean is we can go in, like, we can go onto the floor an hour earlier, or at least that's what it was in the previous years. And if we can go onto the floor an hour earlier, we can record stuff then, and then the rest of the day just enjoy ourselves. Oh yeah, I probably want to fix the wheel before the blueprint too. Good point. Thanks, Jaded. Kind of forgot I was missing a wheel. Huh. Okay, it's running. Why have I not got power cells being produced? Because there's no power cell in the list. Interesting. Come on, give me power cell. Come on, update. Come on. You can do it. Also, I need to do a thing. I was for a second tempted to make the font teal, but I think that'll be obnoxious. I dislike these being full brightness. There's a bit too much bloom off it. I find if I drop it down to that, it's a lot nicer to look at. There we go, power cells there. Power cells. Let's go 240. Have 3 batteries worth. That's smart. No, Amaro, I have not tested that plugin. Honestly, I've been a mix of overly cautious and lazy with regard to plugins. I know there's heaps that can be done with them, but like, so much of what I do and so much of what I've always done has been around a primarily vanilla experience, but also a new player friendly experience. And I find that doing things like using plugins will leave me with huge numbers of comments about how to set that up, and I'm really not that keen, at least at this stage, to be the person who teaches how to set those things up. Did, on the other hand, have an idea I think I'm excited about for some testing videos, which came to me while watching Lego videos, of all things. Packrat, I'm not always making NPCs more of a pain. I'm usually doing the opposite. Like, or at least my intent was. As it turned out, I might have made the assertive mod a little more difficult than I thought. But the intent was for it not to be. I just slightly misjudged. Is there any way I can make this not look horrible? This being... putting a wheel here. I'm really tempted to put a wheel there just so that the back end can't smack. I suppose I could get rid of the middle engine and stick it in there. That'd be alright. Yeah, let's do that.
Inventory full.
Because I think that's the bit that's going to hit the most. And it's also got the most expensive blocks if I hit it. Yeah, the stuff with the plugins just always comes down to what do I want to spend my time doing right now? And every time I look at it, it just makes me think that's time I should be spending on something else. And so I don't do it. I know, but like my intent, I get that it does often seem like I'm making NPCs more of a pain, not less. But that's not the intent. Ah, nuts. Oh, I guess I can get rid of this. Oh man, how far have I got this across? Oh, what? It's not letting me place at all? Oh, because that's not an attachment point. That's why. I see. That makes sense.
Inventory.
I'm not sure that's where I want that to be, but we'll see how this goes. I always forget that the side of these O2H2 gens isn't an attachment point. You'd think after this many years and this many hours I'd remember that, but it's always one of those things that just slips my mind with disturbing frequency. I think this is going to be too low, and I think I'm going to abandon this rather rapidly, but we'll leave it for now. Okay. Fix my hole in my roof. But yeah, like, so I was actually thinking about this yesterday as I was talking to TFE and Capac, TFE being one of the bots in Wrong Way Up, and also one of the people that helps me out a lot with MES and how to set it up. We were talking about this yesterday, and I was thinking about how I want the assertive mod to play out and how I want it to end up being, and I think what I really want from it is something that's kind of... Oh, that's why I was going towards the research base. The gold's down there. Okay. I remember that. But I think my goal with it is to make it something that is new player friendly, but still meaningful and useful for experienced players. So that means that there has to be a ramping in difficulty that happens as you play and as you interact with it. And that's kind of been my goal all along, is to make it that it's the NPC mod that most people would say for new players, use that one. It'll give you some fun. It'll still be fun in the later game. But when you're wanting a real challenge, go add corruption, or go add reavers, or go add whatever other one is particularly brutal. But my intent was not for Assert to be brutal. At least more recently. I think at the beginning it was intended to be something a bit more just a bit more engaging, which at the time meant a bit more difficult because it was gonna send drones after you. But it was just so much more difficult for me to balance it at the time, so I couldn't figure out how to make it so that it was engaging and not overwhelming. Also, hey D, sorry, missed your message over. And hey Jet. Alright. Do I go and hunt more gold, or do I... What can I do? If I build a little flyer, where can I launch it from? We've got the entry from the roof on that side. Don't really have anything going on over here. I could make... I wonder if I could fit a tiny little printer or something in somewhere here and make some little drones to send after them. That's really what I need. It's one of these. Oh! Oh, thank you. Is this something here is smoking? That could have been bad. Start at this end. Thanks so much, PDW Backrat. Thanks. That's a very kind thing to say. That's kind of my goal. All the stuff that I've learned with regard to modding and making MES based things and that side of stuff has always been around making the game world feel a little bit more alive, but still somewhat predictable. Less predictable, but still somewhat predictable. And doing my best to avoid stuff that unfairly disadvantages people who are inexperienced. Thinking back on it, I think I might have at one stage said that the NPC mods were intended for more experienced players, but I think that was when I didn't have the control that we've had since Lucas made Rival AI. And now that we have that control, I think it's perfectly reasonable. Like, it's much more reasonable to aim for something that's able to be done, able to be used by everyone. Let me place the wheel. I was probably over a divot or something. Let's get a piston, add that wheel, and then we're fully repaired. And has anyone got any ideas about where I could fit a... I mean, if I got rid of this turret... No, that's the hydrogen tanks. I don't have room there. Just trying to think of where I could stick a drone bay or something similar. So where can I even attach this? I think I'm just going to keep finding damaged bits as I go around. Thanks to zombie. Where I have the bed. I can't get rid of my bed. That just won't do.
Fuel low.
Ooh.
Fuel critical.
Da-da-da-da. I'm not sure there's any room at the back or anything. Because I'm already extending a bit further out from the wheels than I should. Yeah, like the only spot I can think of is over this wheel somehow. That's not very much area. Unless I were to raise this whole back section up and create something that can launch out the back over the thrusters. Hey, thanks, Greg. Let's see if this explodes my piston head. Let's see if I even put this close enough to the ground. Oh, delightful. That's always a good sign that your rover's heavy. There we go. Wheel added. Oh yeah, 2 of them going out each side. I could do that. Oops, that's not actually a point. I suppose if I do design a bit of a drone hangar at the back there, it'll also give me room for figuring out some better conveyor piping for putting more turrets at the back. Is it supposed to make that noise? Sure, why not? Yes. Yeah, it is meant to make that noise. It's kind of this slightly skipping on the ground as it takes the weight of 2 million kilos. And now chat's talking about food in games like this. Daily needs like food, water, rest, etc. I think are only interesting in games when they add something to the engineering experience. At least in a Space Engineers type game. So I find that making the food stuff in Stationeers is actually quite interesting, because in Stationeers it's quite a challenge to set up an effective greenhouse. The greenhouse starts heating up, you have to make sure you've got that issue covered. The greenhouse needs to have the correct mixture of gases, it has to do all these things, and so if you had to do that sort of greenhouse design in Space Engineers to create enough food so that then you could go explore, then that would be somewhat meaningful. Because if you couldn't get back to your food or your water, or if there was something that could go wrong with your food or your water when you're away, so that it actually takes a bit of time so that you kind of want to bring it with you. I think that's when it adds something. But when it's just more stuff you've got to carry on your character, and it's really just a little bit of busy work, it doesn't actually add much to the game experience. And I think that's where a lot of survival games kind of fall down, is their food bars just become that. They're just a food bar. They're not a food system. Hey, thanks so much, Jackson. 30 months. Hey. Yeah, so the food system that Valheim introduced people to... Alright, I'm going to have to start grinding off the back while I'm talking through this, because this is going to distract me for a while. Let's grind off the back. The food system that Valheim kind of introduced to games in general is a good concept. It's food that's not needed. You're never strictly required to eat. The food gives you buffs, so you can choose to engage with it.
Inventory.
But you don't have to. And that was a really, really cool concept. That
Inventory
I think
full.
if used in more games, like, or
Inventory full.
if that could be replicated in a mod for Space Engineers, could be good. But I think for Space Engineers, it's about engineering. So if the food doesn't require engineering, people will lose interest in it pretty quickly, I think. So I think, like my idea when I added daily needs to Survival Impossible, when I started it, the concept I had in my... Oh, this is going to be painful.
Inventory full.
The concept I had in my head... I think this might be worth building a subgrid grinder to grind off these plates. Just to get rid of it. There's so many. This is going to take so long. Although that's cargo, that's conveyor, so that'll speed it up a bit. Or should I leave this in and just build it on top of that? Maybe I'll leave that in as an extra protection. Also, I wouldn't say 99% of games emulate Ark's food system. Ark's food system emulates all the games before it. That system has been around so much longer than Ark ever has been. But the issue with food systems in games in general is, if the game, and I've said this before, if the game isn't designed around the food system being the interesting part, then the food system is never the interesting part. So, if you want, I think I've said this around stuff like fishing and hunting stuff when I've been playing Icarus. So if you designed a game around hunting, and hunting was the main part of it, you're going to put a lot of gameplay elements into the hunt. And so that's going to create... You can create interesting things that happen during that. You can make it be an interesting way to play the game. So, no matter how you choose to do that, but you will be more likely to do it. But if it's just a secondary thing that is, as is being said in chat, a time sink, it doesn't add anything. In fact, in most cases, it kind of detracts from the game. So Icarus its food system is kind of a mixture of what you get from Valheim, where the food's not strictly necessary, but kind of falls into the same trap of the hunting not being everything. I need to think. I'm trying to think through two things at once, and it's not working. I'm trying to think through what I'm doing design-wise here, while also thinking through high-level game concepts. And my brain is not doing it, and I'm not making sense. So yeah. I'm just gonna stand here for a second and try and put my thoughts out. But I'm sure I'm gonna say something wrong, and I'm sure I'm gonna say something that I don't really mean, but it's just the only way I can think of saying it right now. So with food systems, you've got the issue of having so much food so easily that it becomes irrelevant. You've got the issue of food's never easy to come by, and so it's a grind. And you've got the issue of the means of obtaining food is a grind in and of itself. I think depending on the game that you're playing, so like 7 Days to Die, Icarus, Stationeers, Space Engineers, Ark, whatever, the way you approach food needs to be different. I think Space Engineers and Stationeers share a lot of common goals in terms of what they're trying to get the player to experience and what the player base tends to have fun with, and that's engineering. So if you're going to have a food system in either, it needs to have interesting engineering challenges as part of it and built from the ground up with that in mind. So you need to have stuff like the challenges that Stationeers has with keeping your greenhouses functional. And those things, ideally, kind of need to have some fun way of needing player input, because as soon as you make them fully automated, they fall into the category of food system that just is a grind and just wastes the player's time. And that's I think, really hard. Like, to fix that issue, I have no idea. Yeah, actually, Minecraft's food system is not a bad one either, because you need it, you'll want better foods, but it's not onerous. But it's also... yeah, actually, Minecraft's is pretty good. I'm sure someone in chat will come up with a criticism of it that I would agree with, but I'm struggling to come up with one on my own. So if I just start like that, I'm thinking what I need to do is make sure I've got enough for 4 or 5 turrets on the roof. I'm thinking
Energy
one at each
low.
corner, and then one in the middle maybe. Could be either... yeah, could just be another auto cannon turret like the one I had there. But yeah, I think where, like, the reason this came up is talking about adding a food system in Space Engineers. I guess that's why I didn't really think up Minecraft, because Minecraft doesn't have the same impact that others do. I think that's a good thing, now that it's been brought up. Yeah, that's a fair point, Black Shadow. The not knowing how saturated your food meter is in Minecraft is a bit irritating. Or can be a bit irritating. I think we lose this. Just trying to think of how I shape this so it looks half decent. And also I got to think about how this printer's going to work. Because I'd like this to be something I can rebuild quite quickly, rather than being something I have to spend ages on every time. Let's just Grab some plate. Yeah, the simplicity of Minecraft's food system is its best, and if you played for ages, worst feature. And that's kind of the thing with food in games in general. It's how do you make a basic human need interesting to engage with? That's hard. How far away, in terms of small blocks, will that reach? I don't know off the top of my head. Oh, whoops. Oh no, I should have locked it. Dang it. I never got far enough into Breath of the Wild to look at the food. The the anachronisms of it threw me out and made me lose interest. Okay. We get 5. So I could make something that's 10 blocks wide if I have welders on this row. That could be enough space. So I'm thinking static welders rather than shifting ones.
Energy critical.
So, another issue for food systems in Space Engineers specifically is that Space Engineers isn't about your engineer. It's about your builds. And when a game's about your builds and not your person, does having needs for your suit or your engineer make sense? Or does it make more sense to have an engineer that only needs very, very simple things?
Fuel low. Fuel critical.
And because in Space Engineers, like, you'd have, for Space Engineers to have food that makes a lot of sense, I think the game would have to be completely redesigned from the ground up. And at least that's how it's felt for a while for me with it. But I'm sure there are others who can think of some way it might work, but that's kind of how it feels to me. I disagree, The Outdoorsman. I don't think Space Engineers needs a purpose other than Lego in space. Lego in space is perfect. That's kind of... I think trying to add a purpose to Space Engineers means you dramatically reduce the longevity of your enjoyment of it. Because as soon as you get rid of the Lego in space feel, you immediately have an end goal, and when you achieve that end goal, what do you do then? You're left exactly where we are now. I think a more living universe would be really, really great, but an end goal, I don't really have any interest in. Because an end goal is an end. Like, I think for me, I liked when I never tried to get to the end in Minecraft, because then Minecraft was basically just my little simple thing that I didn't really have to take too seriously. I'd love to have more scenarios, but I don't want that to be the main thing. I just want a more living... I want a universe that feels more alive. I think there is a lot that could be said for having something a bit like Avorion has, where you do have a quite living universe. I don't think we've got computers capable of doing that at Space Engineers scale yet. So I think we're kind of stuck not having that. But yeah, that's kind of where my dreams go. Which is why I played Eve as long as I did, I think. Thanks, Dino. I'm not liking this as a hangar design. I feel like I'm just going to get cooked. Yeah, Crazil, speaking of Empyreon, I want to play some solo Empyreon again soon. Because it's been so long, and I want to kind of... We had all sorts of bugs with the co-op stuff when I was playing with Capac, and I think I'd need to play some single player. And then eventually play some more co-op with him. Because I want to experience the game not broken. Or not as broken.
Energy.
I'm trying to think of what else I can do with this. I can't... nothing's coming to mind. Or a shape. I think I might just abandon the whole printer concept. Stuff it. We've got autocannons now. We've got... I can build a fighter instead. Been building them in wrong way up, so I think I've got an idea of what I can do that'll be effective at putting out a lot of damage. Alright, so let's start. We'll build the hangar around the vehicle once it's in place. No. So I'll start with a connector here. It's nicely centered. That'll give me a nice recharge point. Not a twin stick shooter with autocannons. So I did just have a thought whether a tank would be a better idea, but I think I want something that flies because I think then I can have a crack at some of these cargo ships flying overhead and see if I can get something interesting from them. Doo-doo. Agreed, a twin stick shooter with autocannons would probably be awesome, but it's also ridiculous, and it was so hard to control. It would just be me throwing away resources. Is that actually going to lock at that distance? I don't think it will. That's annoying. Thought I was going to be able to do that. Let's... Sure, why not? Let's make it overly complex. Just so I can have this started without having to build it off a rotor. That's all I'm doing here. I'm just making it so I didn't have to start as a subgrid at the main grid. And I'll be able to charge it. Yeah, I probably should have just dropped the connector down. I always find that it sinks too low though. I don't like how low it sinks. Oh, that will lock. Well, delightful. Okay, so for this thing, I think it's probably best if I do have it piloted. Having third-person views and stuff like that is useful. I think having some turrets on it would be helpful. I'm just thinking about how I pipe this up, and I reckon perhaps starting with a medium cargo over the top like that could be useful. Start that in the center and then we'll work from there with the design. Oh. Assault and autocannon turrets have tiny ports. Huh. Okay. Had not paid close enough attention to that. Also, not sure it's a good idea to have my ammo get exposed if I lose my turret. So let's put a frame in that. I've never had any success with surface-to-air missiles, Mavlight. I've tried using Whip's scripts for them, using other people's scripts for them, and I don't know what I'm not getting, but I'm not getting something, and it means that whenever I try, it just doesn't work. Yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing wrong. I should probably try it on stream one day, but I feel like I'll just be frustrating all of you guys, so I don't want to do that. But I have been tempted before to try and set one up on stream to see if I can get the help that I need to get it to work. So I've always wanted to have a fully scripted SAM system. Cockpit. Gonna need thrusters and a whole lot of guns. Yeah, true, Gruz. You can do the player-made ones, but with the turret controller, but they're very limited in range. Because they're reliant on that same vanilla system that is very limited in range, which is unfortunate. But you definitely, like, that's a valid option. It's just not a super effective one, and they're not super quick either. What am I looking for that I don't have on my hotbars? Where do I want these positioned? I'm thinking starting here. But then I'm like, that puts my cockpit very close to the front. Could make this longer. Thinking maybe if I bring these down there. Is that far enough? I don't want to bring it out of... No, that'll be far enough. Just thinking of where I'm going to put thrusters and stuff like that around this, and where I might fit extra batteries in as well, as part of what I need to think about with this. So autocannons have the same layout. Outdoorsman, my primary tip for how to not make a brick is make it bigger. Give yourself space to work with. Don't start off too cramped. Small, good-looking builds are expert level things to pull off. The best, like, I struggle with small, good-looking builds. The best builders are the ones who can manage to pull off something small that still looks amazing. Because it's really, really hard to do. Like, the stuff that you see on the workshop, the tiny little builds that somehow look amazing, those are really hard to pull off. I'm trying to decide how many Gatling guns I want, because I probably mainly want Gatlings, I think. Although I guess we could go with, like... So that's going to be... That should be able to shred one of the little drones quite quickly. Oh man. Bilbo, I was given a key to reassembly when it first was released, or just before. They didn't have inverted mouse, inverted Y, and I just found the system so frustrating because I couldn't control stuff properly. And so I gave up. That's why I've never seen me play it. And I'll do this, I think. Oops. So we'll start with that as the forward armament. I think that'll be enough in the way of autocannons that when I want to do bigger damage to, like, do more damage to a big target, I think 4 is going to be enough. Well, I think 4 is going to be enough for me to run out of ammunition. Yeah, TR Wolf, the range on those missiles is terrible. That was what I was mentioning earlier. Assault cannon, autocannon. I kind of want to have a couple of these on here. I might start thinking about some thruster positions, and then where else I can slap some of these turrets down. Well, maybe I'll start with one out here. Yes, make me very sad when a game these days doesn't have the option for inverted controls. Because it just means it's a straight up no for me. Because I started playing that way and I have no desire to change it this many years on. When it is a standard feature on so many things, I think it should just be standard. Change up something here. Good idea. If I bring that right in against the body. That'll give me enough room to put some big thrusters in there. This is what I was thinking. So I want to have plenty of lift. So I'm going to obviously need more batteries, I'm aware of that. But I want to have plenty of lift because in a fight I want to be able to quickly change direction, especially when I've been focused on shooting something that might be below me and I want to be able to quickly not hit the ground. Alright, thanks Holden Forever. Thanks for 14 months. And a parachute for recovery. I don't think I've ever had a parachute for recovery on a fighting vehicle. I think I've kind of just always assumed they're just gonna die. If they've lost power, they're already dead. What the... What did I just do to my stream PC? That was weird. Apparently I had some sort of shortcut through my touchscreen. Yeah, like that would be enough thrust for a mining vehicle, and this thing is going to weigh nowhere near what a mining vehicle does. I'm going to not go into the whole philosophical arguments between inverted and not. I've done that on Wrong Way Up relatively recently, so I'm just going to leave that one. For me, it's because I started out with playing flight sims, and the very first time I played a first-person shooter, I actually played it with a joystick. And it really, I think, like, I wonder if some of it comes down to...
Fuel low.
Well, I guess for me,
Fuel
the moving of the mouse is the moving of the head, not the moving of the view. Yeah, I played a first-person shooter with a... I can't even remember what it was. It might have been... It might have even been, like... Half-Life? Doom? Might have been Doom. Something. I played a first-person shooter with a proper... Well, with a... What at the time was considered a decent joystick. Oh yeah, and GoldenEye was also... GoldenEye was the first-person shooter that I played the most back in those days, so... when you're using thumbsticks, just the conversion makes a lot more sense. And looking with those horrible C buttons. Man. GoldenEye was still awesome, considering how awful some of those things were. Actually, I want those sticking out a bit further. Or do I? No, the armor can shape around them. I think that'll look alright. So that's 6 left lateral. That's 6 right, and then I've just got to figure out where I'm going to put the reverse thrusters. And maybe see if I can squeeze some more batteries in here. Just for that. Safety net of a longer flight time. Because I am on Pertum, so there's not much atmosphere, so I am going to need more. Yeah, I really can't remember what the game was that I, like what the first person shooter was that I used the joystick for. Like we're talking mid-late 90s. So I genuinely can't remember. It's a long time ago. I'll put them under the guns. Guns, and then I'll put some sort of as in this sort of position here. It's obviously not going to have the same stopping power as going forward power, because I am not going to try and fit a pair of large thrusters for reverse. It might have been Half-Life, but I'm not sure it was Half-Life. Yeah, I don't remember. Don't remember. I mainly, like, back in those days, I mainly played real-time strategy games anyway. I didn't play much. Until Unreal Tournament came along, I didn't play much in the way of first-person shooters. Let's do this. I think that could add some interesting style when I have to greeble around that with some armor. Can I get another pair of turrets on the back here? I reckon I can. Just for the ridiculousness of it. Oh man, I did play Descent a bit. Not a lot, but I did play it a little bit back in the day. That could certainly have had some impact on me in terms of what controls I preferred as well. I kind of want to move this whole back section one block back. Nuts. The reason being, I don't want to have to lift this conveyor line up. I just wanted to be able to bring it straight out. To be able to stick another turret on there. So if I do that, then could move it all back 2 blocks. Really? Gonna leave the other side on there so I know what was there. We get rid of that and that and that. Oops. I hope this thing works because it's taking me a lot of work to put together. You could use 2 controllers to control your character in Perfect Dark? I had no idea. I never did that. I did play Perfect Dark a lot. Capac and I actually played it. We both played that one a lot. Something, you know, put an extra battery there, then go do what I did before with the pair of batteries on the side like this. So that gives me a total of 5 large batteries, which should be enough power for all of these thrusters. I'll detach, like once I've got this all built in the frame, I'll detach it and give it a bit of a flight power test and see if I need to rework it further. I hope this thing doesn't just get shot down immediately. Even though I kind of feel like it might. It's got enough firepower that I should be able to do some serious damage and hopefully walk away able to vaguely repair. I've made this relatively squat, like a fairly flat, so in theory I could build some welders on like a flat plane that I can kind of fly over to repair it a bit more easily. Yeah, it did turn into a mini gunship pretty quickly. That is true. It's also not exactly undesirable. Kind of happy with it being a mini gunship. In fact, I think we need to do... Let's bring this back here. Oh, it's too big. It's... Dang it. I might be able to place that later. I don't know. Oh well. Let's just remove those for now. Okay, and start welding this thing up. And then put the side thrusters back on. Start with batteries. Bring those back turrets out one more block and have it. I was actually thinking the rear
Energy
turrets
low.
in one. Like I was going to bring them in. So they're more for firing rearward. In fact, that might be better than trying to go for an under-tail gun. Bring this instead of sticking it out there. Gotta finish these batteries first. My engines are running, so the batteries will all get charged. Do that though, I won't have any room for building armor around it because it takes up the 5x5. I want that one more block further back. I'm going to do that. Oops. Yeah, there. That'll be better. It won't allow me to put any armor down the side of this rear thruster, but it's probably not the worst thing. Yeah, that's going to be a much more interesting shape, I think. Tapering toward the rear. Okay, back to back to the building of things. The turrets actually fill up that space, so you can't place another block in there. So it's not a collision thing, it's they actually occupy that space. So you can't do it. And yes, I am aware I haven't put gyros on here yet.
Energy critical.
I was waiting until I had the piping down before I started placing them. What do I need a programmable block for? I need a programmable block. What script would I possibly be running on this?
No energy.
Doo-doo-doo. Probably shouldn't have let myself run out of energy. Yes, today is going to be RimWorld with Capac and Wasted, but I was up early and I wanted to fit some of this in because I'm going to be recording some Survival Impossible this week, which means I need to put like a whole day aside for that, so I wanted to get some solo streaming in as well. And that means doing stuff when like this. Because I find it hard recording and then switching from that mindset to streaming. So I prefer to do kind of, if I'm going to record today, I just like to record. But yeah, April's going to be a big month. I'm really excited about it. So I feel like... So I kind of finished up at my job at the start of... It was sort of midway through February. But I kind of hadn't settled into any sort of real pattern because I still had some more shifts after that.
Fuel
And
low.
no, that's inconvenient. And so I've been trying to figure out how I do my, like how I organize my time. I still don't think I've quite worked it out, but it feels like April's where I'll get into some sort of rhythm, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hey, thanks, Redbeard Dragon. What do you mean a conveyor port's not needed to be aligned anymore? I've aligned them all, I think. Haven't I? My exclusive use of junctions. It's to fit the theme. Because it's my exclusive use of non-junctions on the main grid and using cargo containers instead. But also fighting craft, I think, especially with junctions being a lot more efficient than they once were, fighting craft should be given as many attachment points and as few as possible points of things can explode and detach from here. So that's why I've done it. Because when I'm building fighting craft, I do tend to lean more heavily on things that allow blocks to be attached in multiple different positions. And I never play with PCU limits, so there's that. I didn't just do it to drive people nuts. I figured someone was eventually going to make a comment about my use of junctions, my heavy use of junctions. I like on industrial builds to use the pipes because I think they can be part of the outer decorative look. So like mining ships and stuff like that. I think it adds to the style. But yeah, combat ship. Combat ship, make all blocks have multiple ways that they are attached to everything. No. Andy. Okay, that's... I think most of the piping I have to do from underneath sorted. Charlie is a very quiet dog. She rarely barks. She's very good. She is very asleep behind me. I need to clean up my shed, which part of that process is setting up the garage for Lego streams. And then I should have a spot where I can move her bed, so I can put a little camera, so when she does her little hilarious sleep yips, I'll have a thing I can point at her. But I've currently got a whole bunch of Lego kits and stuff in the way that make that not feasible. Recognize that, as far as I'm aware, that's never been the case. These conveyor junctions have always worked in all 6 directions. Like, in all of the 4,000 odd hours I've played, that's how it's been. Since the days of 7 asteroids being your largest world size. Unless there was a brief time with a bug that was different, that's how it's always been.
Energy low.
Mavelite. I don't think I did have PCU limits on DI. Because I was an admin, remember? I don't think I did have PCU limits on DI. The guys very kindly made it so Capac and I didn't. Because it would have gotten in the way of a lot of things. Charlie has done one bark on stream that was hilarious, because she barked right as Capac and Pav were walking up to a wolf in Icarus, and proper gave Pav a fright, which was hilarious. Oh yeah, there we go. Or it was 50,000 PCU. So I never ran into the PCU issue on DI, but energy our grids were also immune to the hangering. In general. Because like when I was talking to Reload about it originally, why are you? Don't be like that. When I was talking to Reload about it in the early days, it just would have made our recordings near impossible to do. So it had to be that way. Hey, thanks, Nuki World. 15 months. These times are getting seriously long on some of you guys. It's both cool and scary how much time has gone by since I started doing this stuff. Oh yeah, DI didn't really have PCU, it just had the top grid thing, so once you had something really, really expensive, it just broadcast your location to everyone on the server. Yeah, so I didn't have any special treatment on that. I did on the hangering thing, but not on the PCU limit. I knew that was something. It's been a while. I forget things. How did I get into this? Trying to think of how to phrase it, because it's something sort of basically I wanted to entertain Capac is what it kind of boils down to, in a productive way. And so we started making Light Echoes. We'd always wanted to make a game together, but we were never going to get to the point where that was a realistic goal. And I came up with the idea of us doing what we think of as more of a TV show in Space Engineers. And we made Light Echoes. Then he got a job that meant that he was not around much. And so I started making tutorials because I wanted something to do on my own and I was enjoying it so much. That may seem to be the case, Tilok. I feel the entertainment goes both ways with Capac and I. If I could go back to the start of Survival Unlikely, what do you think we'd do differently? Or do you mean Survival... Survival Unlikely, so that's the beginning, or like the very first co-op series I did on my channel with Capac. If I went back to the start of Survival Unlikely, I don't think I would change much at all. With what's available now, the NPC mods would be different. But I think the overwhelming nature of what the ones I'd made at the time were kind of made it a bit of what it is and a bit of how special it was because it was so far beyond the level of difficulty that I'd anticipated. So I don't think I'd change too much, although obviously given the way that the game plays now versus what it did then, I wouldn't have needed to provide an entire refinery. And a whole med bay and a whole giant rover for us to start on. So I would have started us with something much smaller. Survival maybe though. I don't think I'd have done anything different with survival maybe. I actually don't want to change either of those things. I don't look back at them and go, I could do those better. I look back at them and go, I learned heaps. But I don't want to change them because they were kind of special in their own way because of how little I knew at the time. So I think that's something special to it that I wouldn't be able to replicate again. I guess the stuff that I would want to change about Survival Maybe or Survival Unlikely would be how they were recorded. So, by that I mean the better gear that we have now, the better microphones, the better PCs, all that sort of stuff. I think that's the stuff I'd want to change because that's the stuff that you can change without changing the feel of it. You just create something that looks nicer, sounds better. Would I build stories for people to play through? It's interesting you say that because I was talking to Chipsticks about that concept just last night. Maybe. I don't want to put anything out there that I'm not certain we'll actually manage to do, but we've been talking about something along those lines. Because he's been working on trying to figure out how the visual scripting tool works, and when I heard that he was doing that, I was like, teach me once you figure it out, please. So there might be something on that. That's a long way from definite. But there are some other things that I've been working on in the background. There are some series concepts that are floating around my head, and there is a series that
Energy
Capac and I
low.
are doing that has been recorded for... We've done 4 or 5 weeks of recording so far on, which Moosey will be editing for me and has started editing. So that's going to be starting in April as well. That is a just Capac and I classic co-op fun. So yeah. Also, have I just done something really, really dumb with where I put that gun? Because I did not add the lateral thrusters back in. I think I might have to lose these tail guns. Oh. Hope. I think, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be able to fit the lateral thrust in without getting rid of those. Suppose I could move them back 1 block. Let's try that. Yeah, I wanted to do something that was... Much as I give Capac a lot of grief, and he gives it back, we are best friends. I genuinely enjoy playing games with him, and from time to time I kind of miss just playing with Capac. The larger group stuff's really fun, but sometimes you just want that familiar thing that you've done for years and years and years. Blue guy, that's exactly what I was talking about. That's exactly what is coming in April. That gonna look horrible. Allow me to clear out that little corner there, or will it? No, it won't. Never mind. How do I want to do this?
Energy critical.
I'm gonna try and put these thrusters in before I try and put that turret back on. Because that's really all I have room for. It's just 4. I think I'm going to be... I think maneuverability is going to be more important than 2 more autocannon turrets. Nah, Amaro, I rarely put ore detectors on anything except for ships that I'm planning on scouting with. I can see the merits in putting them on nearly everything, but it just isn't how I tend to approach things. If I'm searching for ores, I'll search for ores. I don't really want to take my whole combat ship out, because they're usually heavier and needing more stuff. Ooh, that's an interesting question, Mavlight. If I could go back and do survival unlikely, would I still use shields? Yes. Yes. Shields... the way Capac and I played Survival Unlikely, shields were okay. Because it took us so long to be able to get any on a large grid that, especially once I got rid of the cockroach, we didn't have to worry. The craft is camouflaged. Why would you need maneuverability? Dear. Yes, well played, Nuki. Well played. There's no... I don't have room for them in the front without them being in the way of things. Because I'm going to need armor around all here. And so there's not really any room for lateral thrust. Yeah, I'm ditching the rear guns. They looked cool, but I don't think they were actually going to be all that functional.
Fuel critical.
Thanks, Rayleigh Jones. Thanks, Rayleigh Jones. Man. My mouth did not want to do what my brain wanted it to do.
No energy.
Any interest in Planet Crafter? I had a bit of a look at that yesterday. I'm not sure. I wasn't convinced from what I read that it's gonna be something for me. It does have the free demo, so I may give it a look. But I wasn't convinced. I feel like, from what I read, maybe yeah, it was the whole... I feel like maybe it could be a bit of fun, but I don't think it's a... I didn't get the feeling it was a very good stream or content game for me. And I don't really... Like, when I'm not playing for streaming or other stuff, I tend to not play that much, actually, these days. It's a bit sad. The whole you're just watching numbers go up thing kind of made me go, not sure about this one. Not sure. Gave me... some of the Steam reviews made me think of Satisfactory, and I think you all know that when it comes to me, that's not a good thing. I know heaps of people are like, oh, it's Subnautica in space, and then there are a whole lot of other reviews going, it's got nothing to do with Subnautica. Why do you people keep saying it's Subnautica in space? So I don't know. There's only so much information you can glean from Steam reviews. You know what, I think I will split this like I've done before. Something like that. 8 lateral thrusters should hopefully give me some good maneuverability. The early gameplay loop is similar. Is it just that the early gameplay loop is go around, collect stuff? I don't know. It's hard to make an opinion on something you've never played and never actually watched anyone play or anything like that. Which is also annoying because we all kind of have to make these opinions on things and figure out what we're actually going to spend our time on. Yeah. Yes, Eisen, I might want some more attachment points. I also might not want that pointing that way. What was I... Yeah, it's always the case. There are so many games that I would like to have a look at properly. What I've been trying to get myself to do instead of... Oh, those ones aren't off. Star. I don't know why these thrusters are going nuts. It's odd. I guess it's because we're locked to a vehicle, so it's like being on a subgrid. I really enjoyed my first ever game in Satisfactory that I played with Capac, and we were exploring and finding new things around the map and doing that sort of stuff. I really didn't enjoy the core gameplay loop of redoing the same stuff over and over again. I'm well aware I redo the same stuff over and over again in Space Engineers, but I like doing it in Space Engineers. I don't actually know why it's different, but it's different. It just feels different. I like Empyreon. Capac and I have played it even in an edited series that's over on our Zebra Monkeys channel from ages ago. I've got like 170 hours in Empyreon. The thing that's always killed it for me, and that I find really hard to get out of my head to be able to play it again, is the Instaprint. The fact that you can just collect enough resources and just go, bam, new ship. Bam, better ship from the workshop. Bam, someone spent so much more time making this, it looks really pretty, I can just build that. Why do I even want to build anything myself? Oh look, now it's just a survival game. So it's kind of one of those things where I have to artificially hamstring myself to have the fun that I want to have in it, which is building my own stuff. I like building. And yeah, you're probably exactly right, JMD. It's because I genuinely like building. Like, that's why this being Space Lego to me is a good thing. Because I like the building. I like the act of building something, of bringing something to life that didn't exist before. Coming up with something unique that I've made. That has my little bits of personality in it. And that's doable in a game like Satisfactory, but there's a whole lot of stuff in the core gameplay loop that is pushing you to not do it that way. You don't want to be unique, you want to be best. And there is a definable best. Which I find hard to cope with. Oh, now I can't remember which way's forward. I think it's that way. I think it's that way. I'm trying to make a habit of putting my gyroscopes facing forward all the time. The reason being, I've been using the whole gyro roll myself over thing more, and it matters for when you're doing that. When you're using overrides, it matters which way it's oriented. It doesn't matter the rest of the time, but it does if you're using that. Ah, no. No, I never played Stranded Deep. Came across it a whole bunch, but never played it. Oh, maybe I'll... No, I didn't realize I'd actually place those differently on each side. So instead, I'm just going to have 4 of them. Although if I was going for redundancy, I wouldn't put all 4 next to each other. But whatever. It's true. As long as they are all facing the same direction, you can still use it. But it is easier when you just know that roll is going to roll you. And yaw is going to yaw. I find that that's quite handy. Targeting options, weapons. That's what I want. Alright, I think it's test flight time. I'm trying to think what this is going to look like when it's done, so I can give it a bit of a name. Let's get thrusters in a group. Yeah, doing a test flight before greebling. I think it'll be a good idea just in case I don't have enough power. Right, and unlocked. Okay. So, power situation. That's up and forward. That's up, left, and forward. That's up, back, and forward. I mean, up and back. So, I've got enough power. I do not max out at all. I do, however, quickly reach the atmospheric ceiling and can't get much acceleration out of my thrusters. So I'm glad I went heavy on them. Yeah. I don't want to have hydrogen on this because blammo. I was thinking about it. It would make some sense just for those situations where you end up with a bit too little atmospheric thrust, but I think the risk of explosion is just too high. Now, of course, this is a flying fighter, which means we're going to have to go light armor, because using heavy armor is just going to make it an absolute bust to drive around, to try and fly. So, let's start this a bit differently, though. Before we go to this, I want to get... What am I going to use? I'm thinking something a bit different. I might go undercoat of digital armor in grey. See how that looks. Yeah, this could work. So what I'm thinking next is go back to my teal, but teal with neon colorable lights. So we've still got our teal, but we're looking a bit meaner. To me, heavy armor is rarely useful. Especially, like in small grid, it's become more useful since the warfare updates, but on a flying vehicle, the heavy armor is going to slow you down so much that you actually just get hit more. Like I've used it on the undercarriage of this, and I find that the weight redistribution, the lowering the center of mass on your rovers, it can be really handy to actually just use it for that. Not because it's going to take more damage, but just because it shifts the center of mass lower and makes it easier to drive. The Jalopy in Wrong Way Up is heaps easier to drive now that it's got that heavy base on it, that keeps the other trailers from moving it around. It keeps it really well anchored to the ground. But I know a lot of people disagree with me on my opinions regarding heavy armor. I just don't feel that it's got much of a place in things that fly. But I know I'm not... I know there are people who do a lot more fighting than I do who disagree, so... yeah. Much as I love the fighter cockpit, it's really annoying to make things look good around it. Yeah, like if I'm building a rover, I've traditionally been more inclined to consider heavy armor in that setting because you're going to take more hits anyway. You might as well make it so those hits don't do as much damage. But with an aircraft, more armor means more thrusters means more batteries means more armor, more weight, more thrusters, and you end up in this cycle of winding up in a situation you really just don't want to be in, because you just don't end up with a thing that works the way you want it to. Like, yeah, there's having, as you say, Laney, there's having the thrust for it, and then there's wanting to keep the thrust for something else. Because I do have the thrust for it here, probably. But I'd rather keep that thrust for being able to escape from my own mistakes. I'm just trying something here. I don't normally do this. I normally try and line up to the cockpit's shape, but I thought I'd try something a little different. Oh, that's going to be too close. No, I can do it on this one though. I will probably do some of this armor not in neon, by the way. It'll go to just being some neon. In fact, let's switch back to the grey digital camo. just so we can see the shape a bit better, because that was quite hard to see, especially with the storm. I think let's go with... I don't know if I'm going to end up hating this, but I'm just trying it. The only way I can figure out sometimes if I like a new style is just by giving it a shot and seeing if it's like, ew, what did I do? Don't do that again. Bad idea. Basically, what was happening with my first Rover in this stream series, the one that I ended up dropping in the canyon. Because it was hideous, but I wanted to try something new. Sometimes it just doesn't go. Also, sometimes I can't work out which way I'm supposed to rotate things. Yes. Remember, son, trying is the first step to failure. It's true. Not the best attitude to have, but it is true.
Fuel low. Fuel critical.
Crashing Rovers is fun, Marco. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course, everyone likes crashing it. If they're in creative mode and they're there to crash stuff. Crashing when you don't intend to, not so much fun. Doesn't even touch me. What's that? Alright, yeah, I think I know what we're doing here. Oh wait. Why I can just never remember which way to rotate my mouse wheel to get the block that I want. Probably periodically match stuff to the other side, because otherwise I'm going to be in a world of frustration trying to do it afterwards. I often do this. I get really carried away with designing one side and then realize I've made it all kinds of hell to figure out what I meant to do on the other side as well. It takes so much longer to match it when you can't quickly look at what you've done. Yeah, I really wish there was a... I've spoken about this one before. I think a really good mirror option in survival would be a projector that you put on your grid that is set to mirror mode. Anything you add to the axis that you've set to mirror for it will be projected on the other side of the grid. So basically it's creating a constantly updating blueprint that matches the other side. Because then you're still having to place all the blocks, you're still having to do it all, but you get your blueprint in the end. And you get that ease of placing blocks down that is really needed for matching carefully designed small grid ships that have armor. Like, I think that would be the most survival consistent but still incredibly useful way of doing it that I've come across. Yeah, I mean, the other option, I suppose, would be instead of having a dynamic system, you could have a system where you can blueprint something and then in the projector have a mirrored mode of that blueprint. So it can flip it and then you just print the other side off. So it doesn't even need to be a dynamic thing. It can be a static. You just set the projector up into mirror mode. And it provides a mirrored mode or a mirrored version of the blueprint that you've set up on it. Yeah, an inversion mode or something like that. I think that'd be potentially... I reckon that'd be easier to do, but none of this stuff is easy to do. Otherwise someone would have already done it, I reckon. It's kind of what I was expecting the front to look like. A bit. There's only so much you can do when you've kind of want to still be able to see. I should put a camera or two in here, and I was thinking maybe one just each side of midline, and maybe one down the bottom here in midline. Because having gun cameras does tend to be quite useful. Hang on one sec. I missed something. Oh, I don't know how far back it was. Talking about the weather. No, I don't know what I missed. Whatever. Too far back. I felt like there was something in chat that I wanted to comment on, but I can't find where the original comment is. Hey! My new Nightbot command's actually getting used. Not giving the answer people want, but still being used. It's got a schnoz! Ooh! Ooh! Tommaso! Oh, good one. Hang on. Hang on. I think I've got a... Do I have a Nightbot to-do list? I don't think I do. Oh. I don't. Let's make one. Nightbot functions to add. Blame Crapack. No, I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be incredibly unlikely that I ever add sound alerts to my streams. I personally don't like watching streams that have them, so I don't want to add them to my own. Like, I've always been one of those people that found that sort of stuff kind of annoying. And I get that others like it, it's just that's my personal preference, so. It's like me not having a face cam. You don't need to see my ugly mug most of the time. It doesn't add anything to the experience. In fact, I think a lot of the time it'd detract from the experience. But, so yeah, it's just been... Stuff like that's just not my style. Good question, Mavelite. I don't remember whether I added the interior turret mod. I was intending to. I don't remember if I actually have. And yeah, it's similar. Yeah, it's similar to that idea, Darksan. It's why I don't tend to play my own music on stream. One, it's laziness, because I'd have to go and find music that I think is universally acceptable, and then curate it and all that sort of stuff, and then you'd end up hearing the same music all the time. So I'd rather just let people play their own music. So I just play none. And hope that my audio quality is good enough that I don't need to hide it with music. Because, yes, that is why Survival Unlikely, Survival Maybe had music in the background the whole time. It hid a lot of our issues with our audio.
Energy low.
I leave for 20 minutes and suddenly there's less teal. Don't worry, there's going to be teal highlights on this. It's a combat ship. It's got to look mean. So, Wasted's someone who genuinely, I think, enjoys curating his music list. And I think I'd enjoy it if I was looking for stuff for particular moods. I'd like to at some point set things up so that if I'm doing something dramatic, I can hit a button and one of my random battle songs will start playing in the background. Or if I'm just watching Capac doing something ridiculous, something with a whole lot of banjo will start playing. I'd like to have a couple of those things, but anything more than that, I don't think I want to do. But I think music is also like a passion of Wasted's. Music for me has tended to be more of a... Music enhances the other things I'm doing. It's not the experience in and of itself for me most of the time. Whereas I think for Wasted, at least the impression I've gotten, I might be wrong, but the impression I have for him is that music can be the experience entirely. As I know a bunch of people for whom that's the case. That's never been the case for me. Is this gonna look alright? If I can do something with plates later, let's say. Have the shapes down. I don't think this is going to be my best looking ship by any stretch, but hopefully it'll look alright in the end. I really want to do this first though. This shape is getting lost in the camo. Rover. That's, yeah, I can, from what I can tell, everything is a Bastion of Essence, yeah. And yeah, Deadeye Dan, I can understand how envious it would make Xbox players watching PC players use build vision. That would be frustrating. I feel for you, I really do. You don't need heavy armor when you have combat Teal, the real deal. Oh, yep. It's gonna have this name for now until I can think of something better. It is now the real Teal. I'm trying to avoid doing too much in this series with Rust, because I feel like I've done a lot of Rust in Survival Impossible. Also, what do you guys reckon? I'm tempted to move the horizontally mounted turrets one block forward in order to allow me to build on the side of the thrusters, because I currently can't. Like, I can't put anything in there because it occupies that space. That'll be fine. If I replace these with these, that'll look better. Yeah. Let me place the block where I want it. Yeah, I guess I could move the turrets one block further out, although it does put the turrets a long way out. But it probably does stop the turrets from hitting my own plane, my own vehicle. So there's that side of it. Think about that. I'm almost getting to that point where I'm like, should I just slap a whole bunch of armor on this and go and attack things? Like, not even really think about the armor and just go and attack and see how it goes? Because Capac should be showing up soon. A few wheels down there. I don't think this thing needs wheels. Ooh, right. Let me just weld these bits up, and then what I'm going to do is something that I need to do sooner rather than later, because I will forget about it if I don't do it right now. I need to set up the cargo container on this to have enough ammunition and for Izzy's inventory manager to fill it.
Fuel critical.
Only thing is, I do not remember how to do that, so I'm going to have to read the thing. Medium cargo container. Wheels have never been good armor. All my early testing showed that they are not good armor. I mean, they're good collision armor. Add special. Thanks, Black Shadow. Special. Though I think I might have... production. Okay, I don't have any autocannon ammo. Good stuff. Don't know why I got out to do this, because I could have done it from within the ship, but it's happening. Let's make 50. So these sorts of wheels are immune to collision damage, like grid versus grid or grid versus terrain. But they're no better at taking bullets than their components. The block sort of wheels are just blocks. So again, it's just the list of components that are in them that determines how much damage they can absorb. Even though they look like rubber, they're not going to act like it. And I'm regretting not putting those in earlier. Oops. Yes, refineries make effective armor because they have a huge list of components in them and can take a lot of damage. They don't deform, etc. They're super heavy though. But that doesn't matter if you're using grav drives and other cheesy stuff like that. Yeah, TFE, wheels weren't really effective armor before the deformation either. Like, the ships that I dropped back in the... when I did my drop tests, the ships that I dropped that had wheels instead of armor blocks took more damage than armor blocks. Like, because you can put more armor blocks in the space of a wheel, unless you use the 1x1 wheels, I guess, but then you may as well just use heavy armor. Or blast door blocks. Right, we got ammo in here now. Custom data, okay. So I want to store in here ammo autocannon clip. Let's take 20 and 20. Okay. Cool. All right. You know what? I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna put some armor underneath. I'm gonna slap some quickly on the back end, and then I'm gonna go at attack, just to see how easily or just to see how much trouble I have taking down some of the drones that are going to spawn. Not going to go straight into attacking the base, but I want to kind of get a feel for how this goes in combat against something that I should have no troubles taking down. Oh yeah, don't forget to blueprint first. Good point. Good point. Put a projector on here as well. So definitely going to want that. Ammo's already sorted. Easy's got me covered.
Working?
Hey, come back. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Give me a sec.
I am live, by the way.
Live? What?
Just before you say something you don't want to.
I was going to say, give me a second. I need to test that my Stream Deck TeamSpeak mic mute button is working.
Oh great, Kapak's gonna witness my painful cries as this ship gets obliterated.
It appears to be working.
It would appear so, assuming you
But I was
made
just
some...
talking to you,
Ah.
and you were not hearing any.
Good.
But you're doing some kind of spaceshippery?
Yeah, this is my single-player Space Engineers thing.
See, I see.
Building a atmospheric fighter of sorts. Because I realized that attacking the assertive bases with my own base was not smart.
Yep,
Went rather
yep.
poorly.
That makes sense.
They destroyed my bed.
How rude.
I know, right? I created them, and they destroy my bed. Yeah, Kapak, actually, can he join this, or is this... No, it's offline. This is an offline game, because I think I had some offline mods in it at some point. Can't join me. He will be joining me properly when we start playing RimWorld. Kapak, I might have forgotten to message Wasted about when we were starting.
Oh dear.
Do you want to message him and just see if he's around?
Oh.
And then we can start RimWorld when he is. And we can think of something to do together until then. If he's not. Oh yeah, I think I might have my in-dev version of Assert. That's it. That's why I'm offline. Which is why I thought the research base wouldn't attack me, but apparently at whatever point I added that, I changed that, I reverted it for some reason. Or I didn't do it and it's just on my to-do list. Don't remember. Clearly. I don't have a vent. I probably should, given Pertum storms. guess I could figure out how to make this multiplayer so that Kappa could join me. I don't know what he'd do. Not that I ever know what he's going to do, but you know what I mean.
Probably just lounge around.
Yeah, seems fair. Just had a really dumb thought. Capac, we could play Rocket League until Wasted shows up.
Oh dear.
As I said, really dumb thought.
See what you're up to. Kind of flying machines.
Yep. All in bland grey camo for the moment, but I'm going to have some spice to it soon.
But digital camo is really effective when your enemy's equipment has a low resolution.
It's kind of effective anyway. Like, I find it, you do lose a lot of the shape definition.
Do you have some kind of goal you're trying to achieve at the moment?
My goal with this series was just to make something that I was proud enough of to post on the workshop in the process of playing the game. That was all. I was trying not to make anything in-game goal-wise. Because I wanted to just be like, yeah, I'm happy with this now. Cool. I'm going to go play something else. It's kind of the way I was thinking at the time that I started it. I just felt like playing vanilla and not playing it in a rush. Because I started this around the time I was doing the speedruns.
Oh, yep.
And so I just wanted something that I could take nice and slow and take my time with. Capac and I are less angry now playing Rocket League than we have been in the past. Would you agree?
Yeah. But it's still dangerous.
Yeah. It is definitely still dangerous.
We're, likely to make uncharacteristic outbursts on occasion when playing Rocket League.
Yes.
Wasted said should be ready soon.
Cool. Alright, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and then we'll wrap up once we're ready to go. I figured he probably would be because the daylight savings time changes.
Pick my rim well.
Oh, don't worry. I'll do a test fight before I wrap up this stream. Don't worry. 100% will. That's why I'm kind of not being as... I'm trying to do the armor quickly. That's what I'm trying to say. But I just need... I knew I wanted to have some degree of armor done on this because if I didn't, I could get into trouble with whole chunks just dropping off because they've only got a couple of attachment points.
Drop Dead Fred, Australia does do daylight savings. It's different depending on what part of the country you're in.
And Queensland doesn't.
Oh, well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. Which was kind of convenient for me because I went to Queensland just before we changed back, so I'd already gotten used to it. Because I was already operating on standard time and flew back 2 days before it changed here. Okay, that's some top armor. Let's just do a quick bit over here and then we should be good. We can probably just get away with doing this on this side.
Yeah, I've only got like a second or two lag to the stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And unusual.
Hmm.
There mustn't be many Aussies streaming at the moment.
They're all asleep.
Well, they were probably asleep when I started. Since I started at 7. Because I was already kind of switched, and because I'm trying to make more time for solo streams early in the morning, I was up at 5:30. Walking the dog. Alright, let's do a couple of quick stripes, and then we're going for a combat test.
Long way up went from starting at 10 p.m. to starting at midnight.
Yeah, it really sucks for the Eurozone folks.
Yeah, that's a lot of guns on the front.
Yep. I want to be able to take down some of the big ships. But I also want to just be able to drill through any of the drones super quickly.
So, are those side ones automated? Or are they
Yeah.
just forward firing?
No, they're automated. They're autocannon turrets too. So the heavier ones.
Fuel low.
No, bad time.
Fuel critical. Energy critical.
I think this will do. I'm going to keep getting carried away if I don't stop. Oh wait, one last thing. Okay. Something of a spoiler, hey, Capac?
Yep. That'll definitely help.
Yeah, you want downforce in a plane, right? Cool.
What's this thing called?
The real Teal.
It's like dark gray.
With teal highlights. So I want to destroy this research base because there's gold in front of me.
I see. Did you take a blueprint? People are saying take
No,
a
no, I didn't. Thank you, Capac. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Scythe, for 28 months.
Where would he be without us?
Crying and hoping that I had a backup save to go and get the blueprint from. Oh, man. Hey, thanks, Big Mike O'Shea. Alright, let's do this.
Drop Dead Fred, if it was the Twitter account, it'd be the real Captain Real Teal to Neil.
Thanks, Barbacoso. Blueprint's not really overrated. Oh, I haven't put my cameras on.
Yes, Anthony, I'm casually in the TeamSpeak as we will shortly be doing some co-op streaming.
Yes, we will.
A special guest.
It's why I was in the TeamSpeak to begin with. That's why Kavak was able to just pop in.
That thingy.
That is a drone that is very small, so I'm very unlikely to hit it at any decent range. Whoa! Okay, my turrets aren't. I'm gonna give it a crack though. Forgot about locking.
Saw some bits fall off it.
Yeah, I think it's going
Smoking.
down. Oh yeah, it's going... Nope. It's going under me. There we go. That was effective.
Nice.
Alright, research base. What do we got?
Doesn't look like there's much to it. Of interior turrets.
Yep. Okay, that's falling way short.
Ooh, that
Oh.
that sound's really taking a pounding.
Thank you so much, Black Shadow. Thanks for the gift subs. And thanks, Just a Mechanic, for 16 months. Also, Black Shadow, always thanks so much for the art.
Yes, indeed. For special thanks.
Oh. Okay, this isn't working. This isn't working.
What is that red circle?
It's the... Okay, I got one of them. There we go, just spray and pray!
Doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it would be sanctioned by the Space Navy.
It worked though. I need a control to turn my turrets off. All right. Success.
Unless there's a secret gun.
There could be, that's why I'm going cautiously. Don't appear to be any drones inbound, that's good. Oh, destroyed that toilet.
Well, it was an imminent threat.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think I'm good. Alright, I'm just gonna get in there and get rid of the remote control. Oh, no ammo. Oh. How rude.
Really?
What?
Running through the door?
Well, that's why I jumped up the top. I thought about it as soon as I did it. I was like, oh, wait a second, what I'm doing. It's dumb. Journal entry number 56. Uh-huh. Good job,
I was
Laszlo.
just thinking about cheese.
Inventory.
Is your name
full.
Laszlo?
No,
Inventory.
I was just thinking
full.
about how you turn this place into Swiss cheese.
Inventory full.
Yep.
Inventory
That I did.
full. Inventory
where's the remote?
full. Inventory full.
Also, that's a wasp inbound. Yeah.
Laszlo's the DJ from the radio in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh no, is that going after my base? No. Intercept, intercept, intercept. Turret's on. Capac IRL name revealed. Laszlo.
My name's Laszlo. I like cheese.
Yeah, down it goes. Well, my fighter is working out well. I'm pretty happy. Sensage is just imagining this with you going blam, 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 blam.
Blam, blam, blam. Wow.
Oh yeah, I'll check the truck, but I need to get rid of this base first. I have to actually disarm it. It's still active.
You could just shoot it till it blows up.
Well, I think there's underground batteries because I think it's just it's ended up being at just the wrong height.
Inventory full. Inventory full.
That's why I was grinding through the floor.
Inventory full. Inventory full. Inventory
Better get
full.
digging.
Inventory full.
Yes, I might have to.
Inventory full.
Don't think I'd intended these to be underground. I may have to modify. There it is.
Inventory full.
There we go.
Inventory full.
Base is dead. Huzzah. I can go mine some gold. When Capac does this, you get mad at him. What do you mean? The inventory full or the... Not when he's doing it with purpose. Thanks, Capac, for the Prime sub. Oh, I wonder if my Prime sub's expired on your channel.
Yeah, probably.
Need to fix that. It's so annoying it doesn't auto-renew.
At least give you the option to do it.
Yeah. I think one time I missed it and then I got gifted to you. Oof. Yay! Cool. Well, I can now... Let's drive over to the thing. Capac hasn't seen my drill rig in action, so let's show him that.
Twitch doing Twitch things.
Twitch is doing Twitch things.
Yep.
Figured you'd approve of the color choices.
I mean, it's pretty good. Probably go some splashes of purple, maybe.
Yeah, I certainly plan on adding some additional interest. It's very much in the early phases of the paint job.
Purple and teal, very Decepticon.
True, 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 true. Ah, why am I not reversing?
Those thrusters on the back.
Yes. They are large atmospheric thrusters and small hydrogen thrusters.
Yeah.
This thing's pretty heavy. It's actually this single truck is as heavy as the entire jalopy.
Wow. What have you got in there?
These are 5x5 wheels. So it's a bit bigger. It's a lot wider than the jalopy is. A bit wider anyway. It's also got a lot of heavy armor plate, and I think I'm still carrying nearly 1 million kilos of ice. Just trying not to scrape the bottom, because I have done that, and I destroyed a whole bunch of my stuff when I did it. All of this just so I could mine some gold. Survival Unlikely is not getting a Season 4, but there is a return of a Capac and Splitsy together in Space Engineers series. Just the two of us. Getting up to our shenanigans. Is my drill gonna reach? Might do. Should do, maybe. Alright, now we go up to the drill. Okay, so. Take control of the drill. Deploy.
That.
What were you saying, Quebec?
Just more Twitch shenanigans.
Ah. It's really annoying. I can't have the drills on right-click mode when I'm controlling the thing with the turret controller.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate oversight.
Yeah, it really is. So it makes getting this straight to give me maximum reach quite a lot more frustrating than it needs to be. Okay, that's pretty good. Wheels on. Burst pistons. And hang on. Why is the on? Oh no, bad roll.
Oh boy.
Something exploded. That's not good. I should have been using that mode.
Going.
Huh. I think I only destroyed a light.
Wow.
Oh no, I
No.
destroyed a sensor. One of my
We've got a
sensors is gone.
serious drill accident. We may need to replace the light bulb.
No, I destroyed a sensor. Dang it. I think I'm going to have to do some other things to fix this. Oh, that's so annoying. Here I was trying to show off my cool drill and I break it. Typical. Yeah, my waggle sensor's gone. Oh, I did it that way. Oh, dang it, brain! Remember things. Jeez. Okay. So let's pick this up gently. Turn the hinge on. Why hinge no work? Let's see if... Oof, I thought that was an explosion. The drill noise.
They're meant to be doing that?
The going back and forth? Yeah. That would be why, because build vision can't copy that function. Now it should work.
What are those sensors sensing?
So they're sensing subgrids. So when it reaches horizontal, it picks up the subgrid of the piston behind it, and then it causes the hinge to reverse. So it just keeps it going on that arc.
See.
It's obviously less efficient than if I'd used a rotor to try and achieve the same thing, but it allowed me to have it sitting nice and as flat as it can be on top of my truck.
Yeah.
Which is the advantage of it, I guess. Though obviously that advantage is quite small. So it's more for cool factor than anything else. So now just slowly lowering it down to try and get it so then I can just extend the pistons. And it does it all without any further input from me. It hopefully reaches the gold. I'm not sure it will. It's either going to get really close or just barely get it. Because it's got 60 meters of extension, but it's 66 down from where I am right now. Oh. Didn't sound good. Okay, I think I'm down now. Yep, horizontal. So we should be good now to reverse the pistons. Yep. And I'll get a heap of stone obviously from this, but that's basically just going to drill a nice little square all the way down.
Round peg in a square hole.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, no timers, just sensors. The trouble with doing something like this with timers, I talked about at the time I built it, but if you could use a timer to obviously reverse it at the correct frequency for the speed that you make the hinge move, but then every time you adjust the hinge, you have to adjust the timer as well. This way, the sensors do it, and I can adjust the hinge as much as I like, and the sensors will still work exactly as they did before, which is the advantage of it. It's a bit more flexible, this approach. Yep, you're ejecting the gravel. Good. Yeah, and the piston push has to be super slow for this because of the time it takes for the drill to get back to a spot that it's previously drilled. What the? Did you just do it backwards? Ow. For whoa. Right. Well, I think I might wrap this up here and get ready to go do some RimWorld fun with Capac and Wasted. Next time I come back to this, can take out more of the assert bases, can rebuild my roof, and hopefully have some gold. So hang around, because Wasted, Capac and I will be continuing very shortly. But I figured I'll basically just put up my be right back thing and then I'll be right back. So I reckon we'll be good to go in a couple of minutes, I assume.
Yep.
Yeah. I will be back with some more streams on Thursday, I think. Not sure what I'm going to do on Thursday, but I'm going to be back with something. It being Tuesday right now. I'm going to use Wednesday to record Survival Impossible. That's my plan anyway. I might... There's a small chance I'll do something else Wednesday afternoon, depending on how the Survival Impossible recording goes. So there's all that, and plenty more to come. And I'll see you then, and hopefully see you shortly for some RimWorld horrible... my getting shot in the head by bullets.
Oh, right. Zombie Splitsy, yeah.
Yeah, it's zombie splits here in RimWorld. We got that going on. I'll be back shortly, everybody.